Hey guys, I'm Coach Tasha Delk.
I'm Cleo the coach. Hello.
Yes, and we are here
Back again.
letting you guys know that everybody is not equal. And we're going to go a little bit deeper and explain to you guys what we mean by that. Before we get into that, we are talking to wives in waiting, husbands in waiting, so single people. We are talking to newlyweds, as we are newlyweds.
Yes.
We're also talking to those who have been married and may need a little bit, more rekindling or a little bit of advice on things that they may be experiencing in their marriages. As my husband say, that you can learn from anyone. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're talking about relationships and how everyone is not equal.
Right.
So in the dating phase, you're just dating people, right? You're getting to know them and you're just dating. But everyone that you date is not your equal. And so my husband can go into why we feel the need to have this conversation.
Well, I was watching an interview with a gentleman I watch often. His name is 19 Keys. He was having a high level conversation, I think, or it might have been the interview he was on. That he hit a good point where he said that all humans are equal. And so I brought the point to my wife, and I thought, what do you think about just that mentality? Because I kind of feel him on that, because I feel like we aren't equal. I think he was speaking it from a more human, just general perspective, that we all feel like we're equal and we haven't put the same amount of work in. We haven't done the preparation or the things on ourselves to want some of the things that we want in life, even when it comes to just our careers, or when it comes to relationships and wanting to be a husband or a wife. Are we really doing the preparation or in being who we are wanting to attract? And so I think he was speaking, like I said, from a more of a career and just a lifestyle perspective, and just we all are equal in just the things that we deserve out of life. And so that's kind of where we got that conversation.
Yeah, so we're taking it to the dating, and applying it to relationships. And so when you think about it, everybody is not equal. Some people, they are like dating from broken places, and they're getting into these relationships also with people who are broken. We'll just talk about examples from our past.
No, for sure.
Is we've attracted who we are.
In those moments.
In those moments. So you attract who you are. If you're a broken person, you're going to attract somebody else who's also broken. So like attracts like. So you both are broken. You are going to relate to the trauma, or I believe I heard somebody call this like a trauma bond. And it's where you guys have alike traumas, and then those you bond with that person from their trauma or from their issue. And so a lot of times that's how we date. And the reason why we're dating people, and because we're broken, so we're going to attract someone that is also broken. And even just like my husband and I, with us doing the self-work and preparing ourselves mentally, deciding that we want to be married, or that we want to be celibate, that we're not going to get more baggage into the relationship. We're just like, okay, let's
do that self-work.
Yeah, let's do this self-work. Let's also work together to build together. That's one of the things that I just wanted to bring up in dating, is we date people from our traumas. We instead of being from a healed place, from a whole place, from a place of being equal with that person. So the person that you're dating right now, are you guys equally yoked?
And not to cut you off, but even from another perspective, you might have done the work on yourself. You might have done the healing and at a place mentally where you're content and your career is thriving, you're a happy person, but you might be settling with the person that isn't on that same trajectory. So it also comes from that space as well. Are you equally yoked with the person that you're dealing with? Because you might be male or female on a whole different time frame than the person that you're dealing with is on, and you have to be conscious of that and not waste your time if that person isn't willing to do that self-work and get to where you need to get to, or they might not even have the capacity to be where you're at. And my wife is going to break down some of the what do you call it, the aspects of what makes a whole person. So if he's not or she's not fitting that aspect or fitting those roles or doing those things that we're going to talk about, then you might have to do some self-reflection on yourself and be like, okay, is this really the person for me?
Yeah.
So that's kind of another perspective of it.
Yeah, and also you got to be okay with growing. You got to be okay with growth. Not everybody is ready to grow with you. Not everybody is going to grow at the level that you're growing at. People are not always going to grow with you. So you got to be able to be okay with stepping away from people who are not ready to grow.
No, for sure.
And because you got to think about it, if people are not on their life journey, if people are not growing, they are against you at the end of the day. You know, whether that be your friends, your family, your spouse, whatever it is, if they're not growing, they are against you. And so we have to make sure that we are getting in relationships with people who can be equal with us and people who are equal with us. So somebody who's not dealing with their trauma, somebody who is not loving from an emotional state. So that takes me to my next point. So the 5 aspects that make a person whole is your mental, your physical, your financial, your spiritual, and emotional. Those are the 5 aspects that make a person whole. So when you look at it, how is this person mentally? Are they mentally growing? Like, are they elevating in their mental space, intellectually? You know, because at the end of the day, we have to continue to grow. Everything around us is changing all the time.
Knowledge is key.
Yes, absolutely. And even the Bible says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. So we are consuming things and taking things in because we don't have the proper knowledge. So we have to be able to grow mentally.
And understanding the knowledge is another side of it as well.
Absolutely.
And the Bible speaks on knowledge and understanding.
Yes. With all you're getting understanding.
In the totality, because you can hear something, but do you understand what you just been told?
Right.
That's the other part of it.
Absolutely. So your mental, you have to be growing intellectually and mentally, and then also your mental health. You know, do you have a growth mindset? You got to be able to make sure that you're in a mind frame to be able to grow. You know, and then also with your emotional, the emotional aspect of a person. How do they deal with their emotions? Do they have control over their emotions? Do they speak from an emotional place? Or, you know, so you have to be able to.
Are they able to deal with your emotions? Absolutely.
Can they meet you where you are emotionally, and can they support emotionally? You know, can they give emotional support and have that understanding? And then also, like, financially, one of the things that I believe with like financial health or financial equality,
well-being,
is
wellness, pretty much.
Is the aspect of, can you guys be able to grow together on one page financially? So that's also something. And then how are they financially with their?
We've touched on that.
And we've touched on that in multiple videos. But for men, their financial status usually gives them a little bit more confidence. And men establish their success by their financial status. And so you got to be able to make sure that you can be with someone that you can deal with them in all financial levels, because it's extremely important, because it's not if, it's when. You're never going to be up the entire time in your life. You're never going to always be down. But you have to be able to be with someone who doesn't base everything on their financial status.
For sure.
So that the money won't make you or break you.
No, for sure.
Break, you know, so in that aspect is what I'm saying.
I get you.
Yeah, and then also the physical aspect of a person is how are they with their physical health? How are they with what they're putting in their body? How are they, you know, just in are they always in treatment mode versus preventative mode and doing things to prevent, you know, things happening in their body?
Sure.
So you got to think about that. Are they exercising? Are they doing some self-work, you know? And
do they know even their genetics? Like what's their history like?
Absolutely.
Because that plays a big part in your children and what they're going to be passed down with. So just even knowing that part of yourself is big, I feel, and just knowing what your lineage is.
Yeah,
you know?
No, that's true. That's true.
Sure.
And then also is your the spiritual aspect of a person. Excuse me. Are they growing spiritually? What is their spiritual preference? Because whether you guys want to accept it or not, everything around us is spiritual, even down to the families that we're born in, even down to the people that we date, our experiences, everything is spiritual.
What's the scripture, Ray? It's not a battle of flesh and blood.
Yes, but of powers and principalities in higher places. So we have to be able to understand that we're not dealing with the people, but we're dealing with people, and we're dealing with the spirit of people. And so everything in the world is spiritual, whether, you know, you guys want to
for sure
accept that or you know, speak on it or not. But then also back to so that goes even in the Bible. It's like being equally yoked. And so what you have to be on an equal level for somebody to be able to, because there's going to be times in your marriage and in your relationship that one may be higher than the other. And so can that person continuously grow with you and meet you where you are, or can you guys grow together? And so marriage is the only relationship where two individual people become one. And so you have to be able to know that this person can become one with you. Can they become one with you? Can they grow with you? You know, can you guys grow simultaneously?
You got it, baby.
Can you guys grow together? And we have to be able to understand that that's why you have to be equal, because you have to come from a place of equality, because it's extremely important. If you're not growing, if only one person is growing and this person they choose not to grow, then you only can go so high alone. You know, you guys have to be able to do it together and grow together and be on one page. And there's going to be some things that you guys don't agree on. There's going to be some things that may pull you guys. But like we said before, having a marriage, choosing to have a healthy marriage, it's a choice, because there's so many reasons to not. You know, there's so many reasons. There's going to be so many things that come up, you know, that will make you that can make you be like,
distract you.
You know, that could, definitely, that could distract you or throw you off, or have you in that aspect of like tick for tat, you know.
Sure.
And so even just, you know, just taking offense to things. Like we just had a situation where where like I had taken offense. There's been situations where my husband has taken offense. And so offense is something that could easily give you a reason to.
And it's not if conflict is going to happen, it's when it's going to happen.
Yes.
So you have to definitely prepare yourself for how you're going to deal with the conflict. Just don't be in a reactionary state of mind. Always be in a responsive state of mind. How you're going to respond to it. Don't react to it. And so that's more so, I feel
so like. It's definitely a choice. It's definitely a choice. But also going back to settling, something that my husband mentioned
No,
earlier.
for sure.
It's going back to settling.
It's a lot of that going on, though.
Yeah,
There's
like
a lot of that going on.
We don't even realize that when you settle in your relationship, you settle in every area of your life. Your mental, your physical, your emotional, all of you settle in every area of your life unknowingly. And you can say whatever you want to say, but it's true.
Right.
It's true, because once you start to heal in one area, it's a trickle effect. Everything else is also going to heal. So if you take a look at your relationship, the thing that's closest to you, or something that you're doing personally, whatever is the thing that's closest to you, if you don't deal with that thing, usually it's you're the closest thing to you. If you don't deal with you, then you're going to continue to settle in every area of your life, and especially in relationships. And I'm just going to kind of take it back to experience. Use me for example. I settled in my past relationship. I accepted things that I know I shouldn't have accepted. And the fact of the matter is, I knew that I was not going to marry this person, but I continued to stay in the relationship because I was settling. I knew I wasn't happy. And how many of us are in relationships where we're not happy, or we feel like we're constantly pouring into the other person, but they're not pouring back into you, right? So at the end of the day, we have to be able to get to a point where we stop this nonsense. Like, we're in a time right now where things, the games is over with. God is not playing. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get to a point to where we stop settling in these relationships, to where we can get to a point to where we have these kingdom marriages, where we have these relationships that are healthy, so that we can continue to pass down these healthy relationships from generation to generation going forward. Because if you think about it, a lot of us in our families, we don't have five really solid healthy marriages, or 5 really solid healthy examples of people in our families, that come before us. We may have a couple. How many of us in our lives haven't even been to a wedding? So it's just so many things that we're settling for in our lives, and we have to stop it. We have to stop it. We have to realize that we're settling.
And the marriage is not a game, too. I feel like we have to stress that point, too. I feel like we have to, when we make that decision to make that commitment, that it's the games, the childish things most definitely got to get put away.
Absolutely.
They should have been put away before then, but when you step into that commitment, into that union, that takes a real commitment and a real choice every day to walk in purpose and walk the way that God is calling each other to walk. And so, and that comes with all those things that you hit, babe. Just mentally, physically, emotionally, all those things make that person whole. We have to give that time and allocate that time to building that.
Yeah,
sure.
But you got to be growing.
Each one of those.
Got to be growing. You have to be growing. And so that's just what we wanted to talk about. Not everybody is equal.
Nope.
So you have to make sure that when you're dating, that you're dating somebody of your equal. You have to make sure that if you're growing and you're somebody that's growing, or even if you're in a relationship right now where the other person isn't growing, and just
challenge them.
And just you're growing. Either you can challenge them and bring them up to where you are, and if you're in a marriage where somebody else isn't growing, pray for them and pray that God touches them, and that God speaks to them, and that God quickens them to be able to grow. But we also have to love people through some of their barriers, through some of the barriers that need to be.
I'm working on that.
To be broken. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Having the grace to love people
and
through
not,
their.
I'm sorry, not because you all know my wife. I'm not speaking on her. This is kind of this is off subject, but I feel like it's something maybe that a man may need to hear, and that you have to learn how to love people, even though you might forgive someone, but you have to learn how to love them as well. You have to learn what Bishop Walker said is to give bread to the person that wanted you dead. It's some of that nature. You know, he was speaking on Joseph and his brothers and how they sold him into slavery, and I won't get into the story, but you have to learn even to have that grace, and with that grace that you're having with the people that your enemies and the people that wanted to do you wrong, you have to be able to even show them love too.
And grace, yes, you gotta give them grace and love.
Yeah, so
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
But you gotta make sure that you are dealing with people who are equal, dealing with people who can be able to see you grow. All right, guys, so this is another episode for Destined to Delk, and I am your girl, Coach Tasha Delk.
And Cleo the coach.
Yes, so if you guys ever want to reach out, please feel free to reach out to us. We have had plenty of people reach out to us, and also like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys share these videos.
Run us up.
And we appreciate the people who are here supporting us. And yeah, so all right.
And we truly, sorry to cut you off. We truly do this for people that really need to hear it. It's a ministry for us, so it is really not about those things for us, but we appreciate it if you do those things. But if this message reaches one relationship or one person that can change some of the things they have going on, then God, that's enough for us. We know that's our purpose. And that's
be bold, be authentic, most of all, be you.